Hello, everybody. We are here with Chris Johnson, who is with the United Auto Workers and also at Cornell University. And we're here on Facebook Live to talk about what your life is like in the coronavirus pandemic and how we as a community can support you and know what it is you're up to, Christine. Good to meet you. Thanks so much for being here with us.
It's lovely to meet you.
Chris, can you just tell us a little bit about you and your background? Where is it that you work? What do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Sure. I'm in a union contracted position with the UAW through Cornell University, the CBA, our contract bargaining agreement. I'm the benefit liaison rep for Local 2300. I represent about 1,150 service and maintenance workers at Cornell University. I help them understand their benefits. I help connect them with people who help them with their benefits, things like ADA, FMLA, short-term disability, long-term disability, workers' comp, New York paid family leave, childcare grants, you name it, education benefits, just in whatever capacity they may need, trying to go between and help them get what they need. A lot of our members don't have time to do that during the course of the day or are too tired at the end of the day to do that. So I'm also the editor of the union newsletter called Bare Facts. I do our mass communications for the local. I'm in 2 elected positions within the local. I'm on the executive board as guide, and I'm one of 10 zone reps that help bargain and then enforce the CBA at Cornell.
You know, this is just fascinating to me because all the stuff that you just described, that is what's really complicated about being an employee in America today, is you just have all this paperwork that you fill out for healthcare or vacation or benefits or whatever. It's complicated to even just have a job. You have to manage everything else in your life in order to be able to go to work. It's extraordinary. So that's a big part of why unions exist, right? Is to be able to handle that for people.
Correct. Yes. In best case scenarios, there is somebody to help with that. Yeah. And you have to remember that those regulations often change. So something that you thought was true a year ago might not be true today. New York paid family leave, that's a fairly new benefit. Cornell chose to take the full expression of that at the 1-year mark, but there were incremental increases in that. There's all kinds of unemployment that's changed with the pandemic. So those things shift and change, and you can't assume that what you knew yesterday is true today. All that stuff bears research and a lot of reading.
So how many employees at are members of the United Auto Workers? And that's something that a lot of folks don't know, is that United Auto Workers is the union that represents a lot of Cornell staff.
Yeah, we're an amalgamated local, which means there's more than one contract within our local. There's private and public sector, but Cornell University is the largest. We have about 1,150 members on campus.
And how many of those folks do you work with, Chris, to help figure out their
Any and all. It depends. It depends where people are in their career. If they're just starting, there's certain things that they need to know about. If they're mid-career, and also towards the end of their career. So it fluctuates.
And so in the COVID pandemic, how has your world changed? It looks like maybe you're sitting on your porch at your house now, is that right?
Yeah, I'm in a unique position. I'm able to work remotely. I'm very grateful for that. And I can do the essential functions of my job from home, but most of our members are considered frontline essential employees. So everything that goes along with that, the risks and the additional preparation to even be in society on the campus, it's affected our members very, very seriously. The workloads have changed. There's different sanitation requirements. Childcare, your schedule might change, and you have to try to work with that. And now you have your children at home, you have homeschooling issues. We have also members who were laid off, a temporary layoff at the hotel, about 100. navigating with Cornell. Cornell was very good and teaming with the UAW to get these folks unemployment and also the additional PUA. That's going to end soon, and I'm really worried about that. I hope that the government is looking at other things to help people supplement during their $600 a week is just going away. That's a big hit, especially for our members. So that's been affected. We just found out that for the fiscal year 20 to 21, our retirement contributions have been slashed. Hopefully that's going to come back pretty soon. Yeah,
That's a big hit for folks, especially if they were looking toward retirement. And then people who are on unemployment, are you hearing from people that they're having a hard time getting through the wait lines still, or is that better?
Cornell was pretty well ahead of the curve. We've had individual issues, but I think that all things considered, our members did pretty well with that. There's, one or two that you hear here and there that didn't have a good experience with it, but Cornell helped us stay ahead of the curve, and I think overall it's worked out pretty well.
Well, that's good to hear. I know that statewide there was huge trouble trying to get through the employment system, which
it's
created a lot of challenges for folks. Okay, so
it's inundated.
Yeah, go ahead. So as far as employees who are either out of work now because of the pandemic, or maybe are seeing their retirement benefits cut, or seeing other changes to their work patterns, childcare you mentioned. I know that Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul is really pointing out that the single greatest barrier to overcoming this recession, this COVID pandemic recession, is going to be childcare in New York State. That's very significant. With all of those challenges that we're facing, what do you think community members could do to support you in your work, and also the 1,100 members of staff at Cornell who are supporting? What sorts of things can we do as a community to pull together here?
Well, the immediate thing I would say is to vote, to get out there and learn what the candidates are proposing, and to be active in that. If you don't vote, you may be voting for something that you don't want. Things like right to work legislation, which should really be called right to work for less legislation. We should be pushing that away as hard as we can. We don't need any more decisions like Janus versus AFSCME, which gave people the right to not pay union dues, but to get union representation. Those sorts of laws don't help unions. We need to strengthen the laws that guard against retaliation from employers if people want to form unions. That's a big problem. Just get to know the candidates and vote for the ones that are pro-labor.
Well, I'm very honored to have the support of UAW for my campaign, and to have a lot of other union support. I am a strong believer that labor unions allow the individual voices to come together and reach these sort of conclusions, and very often there is a good relationship with management, like you're describing at Cornell University, and you're taking on a lot of the load of helping to manage people's benefits, which is a real asset and a real help. So I appreciate the work that you're doing. What about you personally? How are you coping in this pandemic? You're working from home, I guess. I see you out there on your porch. You get to be outside. A lot of us are kind of enjoying that we get to be outside. I know that I have a garden here at my office and at my home office that I'm spending a lot more time in than I had expected I would be this year, which is nice. But how's the pandemic affecting you personally, Chris?
I do elder care, so it's there's challenge. It's nice being home because that's a little easier, but I am very aware of not bringing something back home. I walk my dog, take long nature walks. I listen to music. Happy that I can have an outdoor office. I'm hoping that maybe when things go back to semi-normal, this could be a once in a while kind of thing, instead of cubicle land or an office with no windows. Yeah. So.
And have you been in upstate New York for a long time?
Since 2003.
And what made you decide to live here? What drew you here?
Oh, it's a long story. My family wanted to stay together with my family. I wanted to do a little farming. I was a sheep farmer for about 10 years for fiber. I got very involved in that. And we just like the open space.
You know, it is nice. And it's nice how many people are able to do multiple things like that. You and I chatted about you were into sheep farming and you had your fiber work and then you gradually moved over into this. It sounds like you don't do sheep farming anymore. Is that right?
No, I don't. Yeah, we have it for hay now.
But it is nice, I think, here in upstate New York that you can have multiple interests and we have a pace of life that allows us to really indulge those multiple interests. The real challenge is figuring out how to have childcare and elder care and all the support that we need in order to take advantage of all the entrepreneurism that so many of us have. Tell me about the newsletter.
Yeah, the intricacies of work-life balance.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Go ahead.
You're breaking up. What, could you
it's
could you
a little
repeat that? You're
challenging with the
breaking up. I didn't
sound.
hear the question. Mhm.
You said the intricacies of
Yeah. You asked something about the newsletter. I didn't catch that.
I was curious about the newsletter. Tell me about that.
My audio is not good.
That's okay. This is a constant challenge that we have with the audio and trying to connect, you know, internet access here across rural areas is often tricky.
Right, right.
Chris, I might go ahead and wrap it up here, but I really appreciate you taking the time to share your thoughts. I really appreciate the work you do. Thank you very much.
We're
And,
happy to support you.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. And let's make sure that all of us here in our community are supporting the folks who are continuing to work so hard in this pandemic and getting so much of our essential work done. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Chris.